The Sahara wasn't always a desert. When you think of the Sahara, you probably imagine endless dunes, scorching sun, and zero water. But here's something most people don't realize. The Sahara wasn't always a desert. In fact, it used to be green. Like, really green. Forests, lakes, hippos. And it wasn't that long ago either, geologically speaking. Just about 6,000 to 8,000 years back, large parts of the Sahara were covered in grasslands, lakes, and supported human civilizations. It was a whole different world. It was a lush, wetland paradise. We're talking about a time scientists call the African humid period. Due to shifts in the Earth's tilt and orbit, monsoon rains moved further north, turning the Sahara into a savanna. People lived there. They hunted. They fished. They drew cave paintings that are still there today, showing animals like giraffes, crocodiles, and even cattle. That's right, cows. This isn't guesswork. This is proven through satellite imaging, soil samples, and ancient rock art. What happened to all the water? Eventually, the Earth wobbled again, literally. A gradual change in the planet's axis brought the monsoons back south. And without those life-giving rains, the greenery faded away. Fast. Within just a few centuries, lakes dried up, the trees vanished, and the sand took over. Today, what we know as the driest place on Earth used to be home to lakes bigger than modern-day Lake Erie. You could say there's a hidden world under the sand. And here's the wildest part. Under all that sand, the past still exists. Buried beneath the dunes are dried lakebeds, ancient rivers, and the ruins of lost communities. There's even evidence of a massive underground aquifer system, a network of fossil water that's been there for thousands of years. Some countries like Libya and Chad still tap into this water today. So, could it turn green again? Technically, yes. Climate shifts are part of Earth's natural cycle, and in theory, the Sahara could one day return to its green state. But it won't happen overnight, and not without major shifts in orbit and rainfall. Some scientists believe we're in between humid periods, and the next green Sahara could return in tens of thousands of years. But for now, it remains a giant reminder that even deserts have a deep and surprising history. Mount Everest is not the tallest mountain. Most people believe Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. And if you're measuring from sea level to the summit, that's absolutely true. Everest rises an impressive 8,848 meters or 29,031 feet above sea level. But here's the twist. Tallest depends entirely on how you define it. If you measure a mountain from base to peak, not from sea level, the real tallest mountain is actually Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Although it only appears to be about 13,800 feet tall above sea level, most of its mass lies hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. When measured from its base on the ocean floor, Mauna Kea stretches more than 33,500 feet, easily surpassing Everest. Still not convinced? Let's throw in a third contender, Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. It's not especially tall by sea level standards, only about 6,263 meters. But because the Earth bulges at the equator, Chimborazo's location gives it a unique advantage. Its summit is actually the farthest point from the center of the Earth, beating both Everest and Mauna Kea in that specific measurement. So, is Everest the tallest mountain? Yes, if you're using the sea level scale. But if you're talking base to peak or distance from the Earth's core, other mountains quietly steal the spotlight. It all depends on how you measure greatness. Surprising geography facts. Most people believe Australia is the largest island in the world, but technically, it's not even considered an island. That's because Australia is classified as a continent, not an island. In geographic terms, an island can't be a continent, no matter how it looks on the map. So while Australia is massive and surrounded by ocean, Greenland actually holds the title of the world's largest island, even though it's way smaller. Here's another surprise. New Zealand has no snakes at all. Unlike most countries that have at least a few species slithering around, New Zealand has zero native land snakes. It's one of the only countries in the world where snakes are legally banned and aggressively kept out. Sea snakes exist in surrounding waters, but they almost never come ashore. So if you're afraid of snakes, New Zealand might just be your perfect escape. Think every country has at least one river? Not quite. Saudi Arabia, a country that spans over 2 million square kilometers, doesn't have a single permanent river. Instead, it relies on ancient underground aquifers, desalination, and dry riverbeds called wadis, which only flood during rare rains. It's one of the largest riverless nations on Earth. Asia is huge, no doubt, but did you know it also contains one of the tiniest countries in the world? The Maldives, made up of over 1,000 coral islands, has a total land area smaller than New York's Central Park. At just 115 square miles, it's one of the most vulnerable countries to rising sea levels and could eventually vanish beneath the ocean. And here's a final mind bender: if you draw a circle that includes parts of India, China, Southeast Asia, and a bit of Japan, you'll find that more than half of the world's population lives inside it. That's over 4 billion people packed into a relatively small portion of the planet. From bustling cities to rural farmlands, that circle contains one of the most concentrated zones of human life ever seen, something most world maps never really show clearly. Part of Kazakhstan is in Europe. Most people think of Kazakhstan as a completely Asian country, probably because it's famous for Borat, that quirky character from the movies. But here's a surprise. The part of Kazakhstan west of the Emba River is actually considered part of Europe. Many cartographers and geographers agree that the westernmost regions, including large parts of West Kazakhstan and Otterau, lie in Europe, not Asia. If that sounds confusing, wait until you hear about Russia. Some consider Russia European, others Asian, but in reality, Russia is both. While its culture and history lean more toward Europe, most of its landmass is in Asia. Russia stretches across 11 time zones, though it doesn't even have the most in the world, as you'll soon find out. Because it spans 2 continents, many experts describe Russia as a Eurasian country, bridging 2 vast lands and cultures.